Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 225 of the NZXT podcast, the official podcast at NZXT Community. This podcast is recorded live on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the official NZXT Twitch. It's available to stream on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and available for replay on YouTube. My name is Mike Kibb, and before I introduce our very special guest today, I want to give a quick shout out to Intel for helping us sponsor the NZXT Intel Club. As you can see, we're wearing our NZXT Intel Poochie and Chippy shirts. If you guys go to nzxt.co/club or exclamation point club in chat, you guys can enter the NZXT Intel Club. All you have to do is just do quests. Very simple, very easy. You guys can then earn Poochie points, which is our mascot right here. And you can see him in the background of Driggsy right there. You guys can enter the giveaway, and then you guys can win shirts, plushies, which is a plushie set, like Chippy and Poochie right here. And the best one of all is a monthly Intel PC. A couple of people, I think one or two people in chat here may have actually won one. So that's super, super dope. So please go ahead and take a look at the NZXT Intel Club, and thank you again to Intel for helping us sponsor. I think that's it for me. So let me go ahead and introduce our very special creator today. Introducing a creator whose entire bio is just 3 words. I like tech. He's been on camera since the Vine days, through Mixer, through Twitch, and now to more than 100,000 people who trust him to say what's actually worth buying. He's a setup perfectionist. He's a 3D printing problem solver, and even a paintball champion. All the way from Boston, everyone, please welcome Driggsy to the NZXT podcast. Driggsy, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you're all about.
Wow, that was a killer intro, Mike. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. Huge thank you to Intel and NZXT as well. What's up, guys? My name is Driggsy, and I see a lot of familiar faces in the chat. And I just want to say it's so dope to see you guys in there. This kind of makes me feel like I'm streaming again. It definitely makes me miss it. But yeah, I think we're going to have a really sick episode today, and I'm really excited to just talk about it.
Yeah, no, so everyone, like, please take a look at Driggsy's, like, channel. I have his socials. I think it's exclamation Driggsy in chat. Probably one of the cleanest, like, content creators out there for tech. It's so clean. It's so good. But before we get into all of that, I love to start at the beginning, where pretty much everything started, right? So first of all, where did you grow up, and like what got you into gaming?
Yeah, so I grew up in a really small town called Blackstone, Massachusetts. It's a dot on the map. So pretty much whenever I tell anyone that I'm from Massachusetts, I just say Boston, just because like that's the easiest way to vocalize it. And I owe my introduction to gaming to my older brothers. If it wasn't for them, who knows? Like when I would have got introduced to gaming. But the very first game that I ever played was Super Mario Brothers on the Super Nintendo. And, like I watched my brothers play games as I grew up. They played everything from Star Fox 64. I remember my brother like geeking out about it way back then because of the fact that it had a huge leap in graphics, right? Because I was like one of the first ones to have a dedicated, was it a dedicated like hardware on the cartridge itself, I believe. So that was really cool. And then, eventually we got a Sega Genesis, but then my brother returned it because he wasn't a fan of the Genesis. And then N64, Dreamcast, PS2. And then by that time, it was the 360 days. And that's really kind of where I took over as being like the gamer of the family, because my older brothers kind of grew out of it. But for me, it stuck with me my whole life. And so ever since the Xbox 360 days, dude, I've just been glued to the sticks. Then I transitioned into PC gaming more and more. Even up until recently, when I started getting back into console gaming, when I recently got the Switch 2, because it kind of sucked me back in with, what do you call it? Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, such a good game. Such a good game.
Yeah.
I still have not played, what's it called? I didn't play Breath of the Wild. I didn't play the original. And then my friend's like, try out Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my gosh. It was so
good.
Fun. So good. But actually,
Yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about that. So, you had all these like consoles and stuff like that, and your brother was like the one that really got you into gaming. As someone that grew up with an older sibling, did you actually play the game, or were you like just watching while they played?
So I definitely watched a good amount. I remember like my brother's friends would come over and he would bring over this big case of N64 cartridges and he had all the games. And I would just sit there and kind of watch quietly as, they played. And then this one memory sticks out so vividly in my head, dude. My brother was almost done with Mario 64 and I wanted to start my own account. By mistake, I erased his save file. And I just remember him just absolutely blowing up on me because, obviously I erased his save file when he was almost there, almost finished with it. But yeah, to that day, I always double check to make sure I'm actually making a new file and not just deleting one that's my older brother's.
Oh gosh, did you get some anger from your brother when that?
It was classic older brother anger. Nothing too crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have definitely gotten some
wild.
chokehold noogies, stuff like that. Oh man.
Yeah. No swirlies.
Okay, good. You also, when we sent over some questions, you said that Ocarina of Time was one of your favorites. So first of all, like when you played the first original Ocarina of Time, like what was the reason why you were so drawn to it?
I just remember like my brothers kind of freaking out over the whole musical aspect of it because one of my brothers was really involved with music growing up. So he thought it was really fascinating. And I think his excitement over it kind of impacted me as well, like just me experiencing it through him. And then it was just the fact that it was like this massive world that you could walk around and do anything you pretty much wanted to at the time, which was like unheard of, right? It was like one of the first games to ever do it. And then for me personally, I never beat it on the N64.
What?
I would always get stuck at the Shadow Temple as a kid, like always.
Understandable. So, I get that.
Yeah, dude, it was tough with the what is it, the Eye of Truth. I would always get stuck at that part, but eventually I did beat it when it came to GameCube on the Master Quest. But yeah, no, Ocarina of Time definitely sticks out as being like one of my favorite games of all time. And then I'd also have to give it to Half-Life 2. Like that game.
So good.
I know these are like really stereotypical answers like from gamers if they're like, oh, like what's your favorite games of all time? But legitimately, like Half-Life 2 was the game that I think brought me into PC gaming in terms of like understanding how components impacted your gameplay.
Yeah. I'd actually love to talk about that. By the way, don't feel bad about that. The reason why they're stereotypical is because they are actually good, right? Like they're good for a reason. If you're saying like, a very offshore game, then I'm like, okay, that's not a stereotype. But like, I mean, they're so good for a reason, right? They literally influence a whole generation of games.
Exactly. Like we wouldn't have any of like the modern day, platformers if it weren't for, or adventure games if it weren't for Ocarina of Time, really, I feel like.
I'd love to start getting into, since we talked a little bit about console, but now it's all about PC and tech, especially with your content creation and stuff like that. But first, like I remember you saying you love Counter-Strike, and then Half-Life was the thing that really made you get into PC gaming because you had to upgrade. So first of all, Counter-Strike, like what was that like? Like on that, do you remember the first PC you were playing on? Do you remember the specs of it?
It was horrible, but it was definitely, it wasn't a Pentium 4. It was before Pentium 4. I forget exactly what the specs were, but it could barely hit 30 FPS. And at the time, the monitor that we had, it was a CRT monitor. So like I was always so confused like why my game felt not as smooth as my buddies. And so that's what kind of also like started me into knowing like what a graphics card was and all this stuff. Cause I remember asking my brother, I was like, how do I make this game feel better? And he's like, oh, I think we need a new graphics card. And then ever since then, that was, I think that was a jumping off point from there. But I do remember playing Counter-Strike as a kid, and dude, I would just get torn apart in the lobbies because my voice was so high pitched. People would just, tell me to get off the game, dude. It was bad. So nowadays I feel bad like whenever there is a squeaker or someone in a game, I always make sure to be nice to them, you know?
Yeah, we were in their same situation, not that long ago. Really.
Exactly.
So when we started over to answers, that I honestly love this answer because because I relate to it so much. So Half-Life 2, like you said, is one of your favorite games, and your family computer was just like, what is happening to me, right?
Yep.
Your brother was able to kind of help convince your parents to like upgrade a PC. So like I would love to hear the story of how that happened, because one, that is especially back then, right? That's a big ass. It's like now it's a lot easier because it's a lot more mainstream, but to ask your parents to upgrade a PC is like taboo, especially back then. So how did that happen?
Yeah, so at the time we had it was an HP, I think it was like an HP Pavilion. If for anyone that remembers, it was like a gray tower and it had like a navy blue translucent shell on the front. It was like a classic case. And then my brother was like, look, we can either buy a new computer or we can build one for way cheaper. And that's how we kind of convinced my parents to do it. And so like looking back on it now, nowadays we have such a wealth of information out there on how to build PCs, from content creators or just like YouTube in general. And so it's like, I find it kind of amazing that my brother was able to piece it together back then because it was a totally different landscape. So I don't know how he figured it out back then. But
I'd also love to hear, do you remember how big of a jump it was from the old PC to new PC? Like, was it like life-changing?
It was like night and day difference. It was like before I was getting like around 30 FPS in CS 1.6. But then once Half-Life 2 came around, I was like pushing like maybe 10 FPS on like the lowest settings. And once we got the new PC, it had like a Radeon, I think it was a 9800 or ATI 9800 back in the day. And so like from that point on, we were able to actually play Half-Life 2 with a decent frame rate. And it was just like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is how it's supposed to be played. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine?
It's really cool.
Little Driggsy today, like playing on a PC now than back then. I think
no,
it'd be insane. It'd be like, what is this? And this is like the norm now too.
Yeah, well, so that brings me to a comment that I got the other day. So I posted a video where I'm playing CS2 on my super ultra wide monitor, and like to most people, you wouldn't typically do that because the nature of Counter-Strike. You would either play it at a boxed resolution or even stretch or something like that. But I really enjoy playing it on the super ultra wide monitor because it's just like such a cool experience that if I could go back in time and show my younger self, like, this is how you're playing Counter-Strike, I think he just would have been like, oh my God, it's completely blown away,
That's so crazy.
That's it. That's the box, 100%. Yeah. Well, not the Mac edition, obviously, but I remember that little gargoyle character.
Oh, here it is. This is like old school. This reminds me of like the beginning of things. Because like, if you put this on like a box today, people were like, what is this branding? But like back then, this is how you got people.
Yes.
Oh
yes, look at that, 128 megabytes.
Gosh. USB sticks. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. This was like the pinnacle, right? Back then. Man,
yeah,
technology.
We had that paired with a Pentium 4. I forget what Pentium 4 it was, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, that it is always fun to talk with like tech content creators because you guys always have experience of like the old stuff, especially like back then. This is like one of the this is the PC parts to have, right? Oh my gosh. I remember I had a big old power spec case, big old black box, literally no airflow. Like I think it had like 2 vents on it, still a disk drive, floppy disk drive too. Those are the days.
Oh,
man.
The good old days.
Good old days. And I know, like, since you started building the PC, you started slowly getting into tech. So what was like the point where it stopped, like, I want to learn about tech, and then you started to be like, I really, really like doing this?
I think it just kind of happened naturally, if I'm being honest. It was like all throughout my childhood growing up, I would always want the latest and greatest new piece of tech that would come out. Like I would consistently sell my old consoles and upgrade to the new consoles. Like, I had like the original DS, and then I sold the DS to get the DS Lite. Then I sold the DS Lite to get the PSP, so on and so forth, like all throughout my childhood. Looking back on it now, I wish I kept those things because, man, that would have been so cool to just pick up. But yeah, it was definitely one of those things that just kind of happened naturally throughout my entire like teenage life, just going through and just buying new tech just because I thought it was cool. And then it kind of like meshed naturally with gaming, right? So like I would watch like E3 and all the conferences and stuff like that and just keep up to date. Like G4, I would watch G4 whenever they had their coverage of E3. And so yeah, it kind of just was with me my whole life.
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard of G4 in forever. That was dope. That was so cool.
Yeah, dude.
Also something that I want to talk about, which is super sick, is you started posting on Vine, and I don't even know some people here, because there's some young ones here that have even heard of Vine. So first of all, like, what made you start posting on Vine? And for those that don't know, it was 6-7 seconds max.
Yeah. Well, so it was you could actually post up to 6.5 seconds, and then eventually there was a little glitch and you could post up to 6.9 seconds. Yeah. Little insider secret there.
People do not know how hard it was to only have that limit. But what made you start posting?
I don't know. It was just like, I remember it was freshman year of college, I think, when it first came out. And one of my buddies told me about this new app called Vine. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like, let me check it out. I downloaded it and just like started just posting like funny little skits on there. Like, just like silly things. Nothing to do with gaming or anything like that, really, until later on. Which I can talk about that later on. But yeah, so I would just post like stupid little funny skits on Vine. And I really enjoyed it. I think that's where I got comfortable with being in front of the camera. And yeah, eventually, so so everyone knows, Vine walked so TikTok could run.
Very, very true. Honestly, without Vine, probably we would not have a lot of the stuff that we'd have now. Instagram Reels we wouldn't have. TikTok in general would be it literally like set like that forth of like video content creation. Did you also have the name Driggsy during Vine?
No, so on Vine, I just went by just my full name. And then eventually I took on the whole like Driggsy name when I started streaming. So that was until 2016.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, what's the thing behind it? I think is it 3D printing?
Behind my name?
Yeah.
So my last name is Driggs. So I just added a Y to it.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I didn't even, during my research, I never found like your actual last. That makes so much sense. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was like, what is the reasoning behind Driggsy? Because, we have people that have like the weird stuff. And then, no, that makes so much sense.
So that actually goes back to like, when I was a kid, like, in like gym class and stuff, they'd be like, hey, like Driggsy, get over here, that type of stuff. But one of my best friends growing up, he also went by the name Frasky. So it was Frasky and Driggsy. And so when I was trying to figure out a name to stream, I was talking to him and I was like, man, like, what could I do? And he was like, oh, well, like if you're Driggsy, I could be Frasky, like when we're gaming, that type of thing. And so it stuck ever since then.
That's sick. Honestly, I love when people have like a little bit of history behind the thing, because that is honestly, I really like that you guys like took that on too. Sounds like a TV action duo. That's very true. I could see that as like a buddy cop thing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it was on Vine. Really quick, I want to go back to that. So on Vine, GameStop was holding a contest, and I posted a 6-second clip of me. It was just a meme of like when you're the last one alive type of thing on Battlefield 6. And somehow that won their contest that they were running. And so for the contest, I thought that I was only going to be getting like an Xbox One, and that was the whole sweepstakes. But it turns out that the contest was actually trying to find someone that they would take to E3.
So cool.
To live stream on what was it, Periscope at the time.
Oh my,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's so cool. That was in 2015, correct?
Yep.
Wow. So
Yep. That was E3 2015.
what was your reaction to like that happening?
It didn't make any sense to me. Like it was in that moment that I realized, oh my God, like it's possible to do things with social media outside of just getting followers and making funny content and seeing likes and comments and stuff like that. That was the really first like breaking point of seeing the word influencer like tied to my name. So it was pretty sick. It was just unreal.
And sadly, we're gonna have to talk about
Yeah.
Vine shutting down. And that was 2017. That it was
Yeah.
basically like we're gonna kill it off. There's no more. How did you react to that?
That was horrible because I felt like I was really hitting strides with Vine at the time. It was like, I had a consistent following and after that exposure to E3, I was like, oh, let's keep it going. Like, let's see how far we can take this. But it was, once Vine went down, that's what really kind of gave me the kick that I needed to get into streaming. Because it was like I was still looking for a creative outlet, right? That's where Vine was. Vine was my creative outlet. And then once it shut down, I was like, all right, so what can I do now? And then that's where I picked up streaming just because of, my love for video games and love for tech. And then also just the desire to just build a community and stuff like that and be in front of the camera. It kind of just like all happened naturally, I guess.
And was this when you transitioned to Mixer?
So Mixer, all right. So I started streaming on Twitch back in 2016. I streamed there for maybe, I think it was like 6 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
Had so much fun. And then I was like, all right, guys, we're going to try this new site called Beam. So I streamed on Beam for a little bit. And then Beam is what eventually turned into Mixer. So Microsoft bought Beam and took on all their technology. They had like FTL, which was super low latency streaming. That was like the big draw to Beam and Mixer at the time. So like right now you're watching on Twitch and I have it monitored on my side. There really isn't that much lag. Like it's very, very minuscule, maybe like a second. Back in the day, back in 2016, it was much larger. Like it was maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds. And so like for me, I really want to just have that interaction with my community. So that's what really brought me over to Beam and Mixer, just because I love that low latency. So you can see how it influenced Twitch, because nowadays there's no lag at all. If it wasn't for Mixer, I really do think that Twitch would still have more latency in the video broadcasting. It kind of like pushed them to level up.
Oh man, that's insane to do that.
Yeah.
You were also streaming when you had a full-time job, correct?
Yeah. So honestly, so after college, I graduated college in 2016. I went to WPI for a degree for game development. And then I got a job at Bose, and I worked at Bose on the website side of things. Honestly, I haven't really told a lot of people this outside of like people that know me IRL. So you're getting to know me a little bit more. So I worked at Bose for 8 years, working on their website and also doing 3D modeling for them. If you go on their site right now and like look at the little 3D spinner of some of their products, you'll see some of my work is still on there. But yeah, just a couple years ago is when I did eventually go full time. So it took a lot of grinding to get to the point where like I felt comfortable enough to go full time. And so after work, I would get home, I would eat real quick, try to go to the gym if I could, and then just like start streaming at around like 8:30, 9 o'clock until midnight. And I would do that 5 days a week. And I did that for several years, up until around 2020. Yeah. So 2016 to 2020.
How tough was that to go live, especially did you immediately start out like with like, is like most people, did you start out like with 0 viewers, or because you kind of already had a following, you got a couple more?
So like I do feel a little blessed because I did have some people come over from Vine, like shout out Maniac. huge shout out Baniac. He was one of my like first followers on Vine, and he's like still commenting on my stuff today. And yeah, he's awesome, huge supporter. Um, but yeah, so like that definitely helped me a little bit. I do think that back when Twitch was still growing back in 2016, definitely nowhere near as big as it was now. It was definitely easier to get introduced or to get found, I would say. So like I played Dark Souls for the first time, and that's where I kind of built my initial like little audience was from that.
Wow, that
Yeah.
So I love to talk about that. You were mainly a gaming streamer. That was like your thing. I even checked like some of your old Instagram clips, and it was like some of like Valorant and Dark Souls and some Counter-Strike and stuff like that. So you went from gaming, and now you're a tech content creator. So how did you make that transition over those years, especially building up a gaming audience?
Yeah. So all right, I guess let's like kick it back to us 2020. So by this point, it was like, like I had like an awesome community over on Mixer. And of course, this was during lockdown. So that's where TikTok really started to be downloaded on so many people's phones. And like everyone else, I picked it up. And at first, I was making content about Valorant and just making like purely Valorant content. And then in one video, I posted about my setup, and it was a thermal take RGB standing desk that I had at the time, which was like super sick and super just eye catching. So in that video, you saw the desk, and so many people asked questions about it. And that was kind of the jumping off point for the tech side of things, because once people started asking questions about it, I replied to the questions, made more videos about it. And then I would just make videos about like the stuff in my setup, like everything from my Go XLR to like how I mounted my camera and all this other stuff. And so it happened pretty naturally, me just talking about the stuff that I had.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm jumping around too much because like there's so much like within your story, because a lot of people are very like, especially like some of the streamers that we talk to, it's very like, oh yeah, I started streaming and then that's it. But you have gone through Vine, then go shut down, then you're like, okay, let me do Mixer, and then that also shut down as well. I did find that you were in 2020 you became one of the first, I think, Mixer partners on the Asus stream team, which was pretty dope. So first of all, I want to talk about how was that experience, and how was it when you first got that like invitation?
Yeah, that was mind blowing. That was so cool. That was, I think, my first sort of tech sponsor, that type of stuff, because I sent over a keyboard and a headset and a mouse and all this type of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like we made it. Like, this is so cool. So yeah, working with Asus, it was me, Vinny B, Excelion, Jordan Lane, and Lucky Shots. I think it was the 5 of us. We were all, and Simbi. Don't want to forget Simbi. We were all on the stream team. And yeah, no, it was so cool.
Wow,
it was so cool.
That's honestly like, that was, I mean, that being, especially with Asus, like that's such a big partner, right? Like that's like, wow, you're really stepping up into it, and you're like, wow, maybe this is your calling. And then Mixer then shuts down. How it's such an awful thing, because you never think about that, right? Especially with Mixer being one of the top like stream platforms back then. How does it feel? How did it feel when you lost your Vine audience, and then again you lost your Mixer audience?
Yeah, so when I lost the Vine audience, it really was horrible, because there wasn't any sort of like diversification in my content, right? It was like purely just on Vine. That's where all of my followers were. And then when Mixer shut down, it was kind of the same thing, if I'm being honest. It was like I didn't really like cross post enough to any of my other platforms. And I think that's like such a important takeaway, is that you never know when a platform is going to go down. Like, I hate to say it, but you literally never know. Like, what if Twitch goes down? Like, what if Amazon gets rid of Twitch for some reason? So it's so important to just diversify yourself and like be posting on every single platform that you can. That way, if you lose, your Instagram audience, well, you still have your TikTok audience, or, YouTube audience, that type of thing.
Did you ever feel after that happened, was there like a moment of you just being like, man, content creation is tough? Or were you like, I'm going to persevere through this?
It was always like, man, we just got to keep on going. Got to put your head down and just get to work. You know, you got to overcome it.
That's, man, I feel like if I was in that situation, I'd be like, man, just can't catch a break, stuff like that. And I agree with the cross posting because, like you said, you have no idea if one will go down or, because a lot of these audiences are very different. Like a TikTok audience is much, much different from a Twitch or a YouTube audience. So how do you have any tips for people about cross posting? Like, do you just say, just post as much as you can, or do you cater towards each audience?
So for me personally, I found that if a video performs well on one platform, chances are it's going to perform well on all platforms, if I'm being honest. But there are, of course, the outliers where it's only going to perform better on a certain platform. In my opinion, I don't think it hurts at all to just, if you're going to post a TikTok, post it on Instagram, post it on YouTube Shorts, post it on Facebook, because like you never know what audience it's going to hit.
True. That's very true. And like you said, you have these different audiences, and Driggsy Tech really started to like push and start to gain a following. When was that moment of you switching from like Driggsy Gaming to fully Driggsy Tech?
Yeah, so it was, I want to say like 3 summers ago at this point. That's where I kind of just made the hard cut and I was like, all right, we're going to give this like all that we got. Let's try doing just tech and purely tech. And that's when I made a separate Driggsy Tech TikTok account away from my old Driggsy gaming account. And also, that's when I made the Driggsy Tech Instagram, and where I really buckled down and started posting my stuff on YouTube. It was either 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I tried finding one of your first Driggsy Tech videos, and I believe I found it. And it's I love how simple it is. It's a unboxing of a 14 Pro Max from 2022. I believe this is your first TikTok video. You may have had some that you privated, but I love how simple and easy it is. It's just unboxing it, quick cuts with good sound. Man, how do you feel about this was one of your first videos that you made?
All right, so if I'm being honest, this is what I had the vision of making my entire channel about. Like, it was just going to be really quick unboxings. Like, I buy a piece of tech, unbox it, make a little trendy video about it, move on to the next one. And then somewhere along the way, I kind of got, more roped into doing like the full review type of content. But yeah, man, this is a throwback.
What made you transition fully from doing these short ones to that long form content? Was it just you see more views coming, or were you like, I actually prefer this?
I think it was just, I was having fun. Like, I was having fun providing more substance in my content to my viewers rather than just, oh, look here, pretty thing. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoyed showing people the things I enjoyed about a product, things I didn't like about a product. And yeah, I just got a kick out of doing that.
Oh, okay. So when you do, so from the beginning to like now do you have any tips that you would give the person, a couple years ago? What tips would you say, like, this is what you should do to make your content better?
I would say don't obsess so much about the gear that you have. If I could go back, I would say don't obsess about getting a super fancy camera and super fancy lighting and all that stuff. Continue to pump out content just with your phone. Because there was a point where I think, and I still do today, like I obsess a little bit too much about how perfectly, framed something is or perfectly lit something is. But I really enjoy the practice of the art of making something look good on screen. But at the same time, it's like, well, not exactly everyone cares about that stuff when they're consuming your content. Maybe they just want more of like the story of the product or like what the product actually does. Like they want to see how it's going to impact their everyday life. And so I think that's where, if I could go back in time, I would say, dude, just make more content with your phone.
Do you have any tips about obsessing over that perfection to making sure the content is good? Because I know that's very hard to balance between the two, because you don't want to post something that you're like, oh, I could have done better on, but also you don't want to, like you said, obsess over perfecting it. Well, how do you find that balance?
It's something I'm still working towards, if I'm being completely honest with you. Like, I'm up until super late hours working on stuff, even to this day, like, just because I want to get it to be perfectly cut or perfectly in time, or like, adjust the audio a little bit. I would say, like, if you can watch it through one time and it's enjoyable, and you think that other people will enjoy it as well, then hit the post button.
I like that.
Yeah.
I know there's some people. I saw a couple comments here about like I saw someone here that was like, I'm in the same place as Driggsy. Like I want to become you. So I'd love for you to give some tips. I guess, how about let's start with the first thing, which is like, how do you make your content? I know there's a lot of people that like will just like grab the phone and stuff like that. But what do you do? Do you like, do you storyboard it? Do you plan out everything? Do you plan out your script, or do you just wing it?
So this is actually, it's a pretty interesting topic, I think, because there is something that goes to say about like purely organic content. When you just film it straight from your phone and just like riff and just like do the content straight from the TikTok app and just get it done and record it and edit it all inside the TikTok app, there's some sort of like organic nuance that comes with it that I think makes it a little bit more fun to watch personally in app. Like, I think it kind of like draws viewers in that way. And so like for that type of content, it's literally just inside of the TikTok app. I'll just record it using the native TikTok camera, edit inside of TikTok, add captions inside of TikTok, maybe add like some text overlays inside of TikTok as well. And yeah, boom, post that. And then I'll cross post it to other platforms as well. And then there's the more like produced style content where I'll take more time. That's where I'll bring out my cameras. So like, this is my ZV-E1. This is like my trusty shooter here. And for those types of content, that's where I really take my time and I will script out everything, like literally line for line, what I'm going to say, and then what that shot pertains to. So like what action I'm doing on screen or what I'm going to be showing in the scene itself. And I'll kind of just record it and go like boom, 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 boom. Take it all into DaVinci Resolve, edit it all together, add all the captions, add the color grading, all that stuff, right? So it's definitely not as streamlined at all as just recording directly inside of TikTok, but then you get a really pretty video at the end of it.
Like that. One thing that I would love to ask you, what is, so you talk about like, you do all the color grading, captions, and everything like that. What is that one thing that you do when you're editing a video that like no one would actually notice, but it's like probably one of the most important things? Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to make sure that I have captions and it looks good. But what's that one thing that you're like, you need to do this, but no one's going to notice it except you?
All right. So like I try really, really, really hard whenever I'm setting up different shots. It's like from the point of view, like let's say it's a point of view that I'm taking, I'm never going to do the same point of view for the same clip 2 times back to back. It's always going to be like a front point of view and then maybe like a side point of view or a left point of view to keep the visuals interesting. And so, you're not just watching the same angle basically throughout each clip. So that's why I'm always constantly moving the camera, just to kind of keep things different.
Interesting. I didn't think about that, but that's actually a really, really good tip for those that are here, because you want to make sure to keep the user's attention, the viewer's attention. So just doing a quick cut like that's actually very smart. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think one of my biggest things is like, let's say, let's say I'm making a video about Chippy back there. Mm-hmm. In one clip, it's always going to be straight on. The next clip will either be left or right. And then I just kind of like rotate between the different angles.
I like that. Is there something that when you first started that then you look back that you're like, why did I do that? Yeah. What's like a tip for those that are going to start the content creation journey here?
Well, I know this is obsessing about video quality and stuff like that, but it was my lighting. My lighting back in the day, it was so bad. It was like I would have a bounce light on my ceiling and it would just light up my entire ceiling and blow out the highlights. But that's really obsessing again about the quality. And that's like one of the pitfalls is like you don't really want to obsess too much about the quality. But looking back on it now, I think like it's like if I go back and watch some of my earlier pieces of content, I really pick up on how I talk. And it's like I'm trying to, even to this day, still work on that, like trying to talk more casually in my content. It's one of those things that I feel like any content creator out there knows. You get a sort of like a content creator voice, and it just kind of like happens, right? It just like turns on. And so like even to this day, it's still perfecting that and trying to get away from the content creator voice and try to be as yourself as possible on camera, like you're just talking to your camera.
I guess that's something that I would love for people here, especially those that are going to do that grind, that want to be a content creator or a streamer or anything like that, or an influencer. There is a hard part about work-life balance. How do you differentiate the work-life balance to I'm going to grind and I want to succeed?
It's really tough because I feel like if you want to grind, you're going to be losing sleep. Like that's just the nature of it, right? It's going to be like after your 9 to 5, you got to carve out some time in order to make that content. And so I think for me, if I went back in time, I would tell myself to not stream as much and make more content. Because I think that although like I don't regret it at all because I loved streaming. It was so much fun. And I love the community that I built over there and I loved hanging out with you guys. But I really wish that I had made more content versus streaming. So then that way, I could continue to build offline. You know what I mean?
That makes
That's
sense.
the one hard part that comes with streaming.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched it, but there was a streamer U thing with Kai Cenat, and he had a bunch of streamers on, and he had like the top things like Ludwig and Valkyrie and stuff like that talk about how to make it in streaming. And one of the number one things that they talked about was you guys have to post content because Twitch is one of the hardest things to just be like, yeah, I'm going to stream to 0 viewers and that's it. Like it's going to be the hardest thing. Content creation is really that thing you have to do.
Yeah. And like back in the day on Mixer, it was a little bit different because on Mixer, it was such a small platform at the time, especially when it first started. So you could make a name for yourself on Mixer literally just by being live 24/7. Because if you got to the top of a gaming category, for example, and a new viewer was like, "Oh, like let's go check out PUBG." They click PUBG, and then you're at the top of the game carousel. Then they're going to click you and they're going to watch you, and then that's how you would grow your audience that way. So back in the day on Mixer, it was possible to grow just purely by putting in the time and grinding. And then especially there was this thing called Hype Zone, which I don't know if you guys remember Hype Zone, but basically if you were in like the top 10 in a battle royale game, Fortnite, PUBG, or whatever, it would put you in this special category called the Hype Zone category, which would put you on their channel, which would typically have like a couple thousand viewers. And so that would boost you to the top like crazy.
Oh.
And so, yeah, like I said, like back in the day, Mixer was definitely possible to grind and grow your audience that way. But then once Mixer shut down, we moved over to Twitch. That's where I realized I was like, oh my God, like this is going to be tough. This is a much bigger ocean here. I was in a lake before. This is an ocean. And so that's where I really started to buckle down and make content. Yeah, outside of streaming.
And I guess we're going to have to talk a little bit about it. Is you talked about losing sleep.
Yeah.
And, there's a thing of like, I need to get the grinding in. I need to succeed. How did you deal with feeling? Have you ever felt burnout before where you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore? How did you overcome that?
Yeah. So there was definitely a bit of burnout. And I do think that taking breaks, for a little bit definitely helps out. But you don't want to take a break for too long because you realize how much free time you might have. So you definitely got to get back on that horse and get back to it. I don't want to advocate for like losing sleep or anything like that. Like Please be healthy. But at the same time, you still have to put the effort in to make content, right?
Is it possible to take a real day off in this type of position, or is it pretty much like you're pretty much on 24/7?
I think my girlfriend will tell you. She's in the chat right now. That yeah, I'm on pretty much 24/7. Thank you for the hydrate, Grim.
Gotta make your drink.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm literally on 24/7 and she has to like slap the phone out of my hand and tell me to get off. But yeah, it's one of those things that since going full time, like I'm still trying to figure out how to not be so consumed by it. But it's pretty hard because like I've been so consumed with social media since Vine. So like we're going back 10 plus years, right? Like I started I think I started Vine in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love for Jordan in the chat, like how do you, especially as like, someone that sees like him grinding, but you also can notice that when he's stressed or anything like that, Jordan, like I would love for you to be like, how do you like understand like, oh, he needs to work to like, I need this guy to relax a little bit? Because I mean, for a lot of us, we get so sucked in and like, I want to finish this video, and it could literally take, what's the longest time you spent on a video?
A lot of time. If we're talking about a long form content, like a long form video will take me like legitimately a week of work, maybe a little bit more, like a week and a half of work.
Is it a week, like a couple hours a day, or is it like you're grinding 8 to 10 every day?
For a long form, it's like a solid week of grinding, more time than my full-time, more than 40 hours, I would say, for a long form video. Yeah, it takes me a long time. I don't know if I'm just slow or like, if again, it's that perfectionist like coming out at me to try to make everything perfect, but it takes me a long time. And then for short form, I want to say like my average, if I'm filming on TikTok through the TikTok app, it definitely doesn't take me nearly as long. It might just take me like a couple hours.
Wow.
To get everything ready with captions and whatnot. But if I'm shooting with my full camera, my ZV-E1, each video could take like 10 hours, I would say, like 8 to 10 hours, depending on what the subject of the video is.
Wow. Jordan says he gets pretty silly when he's worked too long.
Yeah, she calls it She-Hulk Dan, because there was this one time I was just completely sleep deprived, and I don't know why. It was just me and her in the apartment, and I was making food, and in my tired state, I just said, "Does anyone want to watch She-Hulk?" And she was like, "It's just me here." So that's been like our little inside joke.
Oh my gosh. But why She-Hulk? Out of all the things you could have done, just like She-Hulk. Like what was that?
I love like all things Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was at the time when She-Hulk was like the new show that was out. And yeah, that's, so she calls it now when my She-Hulk comes out.
When you get loopy? Oh man.
Yeah.
How do you now versus back then, or is it kind of the same when you get into that sleep deprived, grinding state? How have you changed with like protecting yourself and understanding you need to rest?
Yeah. So I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with giving myself a hard stop, being like, all right, let's get off the computer at 11 p.m. So that way I'll be able to get off and get adequate sleep and rest so that the next day I can wake up and continue that project. And I think like realizing that me sleeping is going to let me put better effort into my content, right? Instead of just like grinding throughout the whole night. I think that's really where I stand on that. Yeah.
What is like, I guess for people here, they usually only see you on your video format, right? Like that's who they see. What is like that part, the hardest part, I guess, that most viewers and followers will never see? Like, what is the hardest part about it?
I think like always trying to be on. So like right now, if I'm being honest, I'm pretty sick. So I'm trying real hard right now, guys, to be here and like be myself on camera, but I'm under the weather. Like I really want to go lay down. But that's part of being a content creator is being there for the content, you know?
How do you make sure, how do you push through that, or how do you make sure that you get your rest? I know I've said it multiple times, but like for me, I'm worried about your health right now, because you're like, I'll be fine, don't worry. Like how do you make sure to be like, I need to rest? How do you know when to rest?
I don't know. It's like really the adrenaline kind of kicks in, and you just kind of go. You just do it for the love of the content. I think a good example of this is like at CES or Computex or stuff like that. Man, you're lucky to get like 5 hours of sleep during those events, 4 hours of sleep during those events. But like those weeks are content heavy weeks. So like you got to be on. And I think it all just comes down to like having that pure enjoyment out of making content, and it kind of just keeps you going, like literally for the love of the content.
Well, I hope you get your rest soon. I see Moon says that please get your rest. I hope you get some rest soon. I know that there's people here, and I saw someone in the comments asking for like sponsoring and stuff like that. This is like one of my favorite sections, because it's like, this is like good insight, everyone. This is like a masterclass of like how to do content creation. So everyone, please take notes. Obviously you worked with us, you worked with other people like, Elgato, you worked with G Fuel, Secret Lab, stuff like that. How do you go about doing a deal? Like what is that balance of like, I'm doing this for money to, I need to stay true to yourself?
Yeah. So I think for me, the big thing is like, if a company comes through and they want to sponsor you, I think it's researching the company, researching the product, and then really taking it in and be like, okay, yeah, this is something that I want to be on my channel, that I would absolutely use in my everyday life, and that I can like honestly talk about and honestly geek out about and be excited to talk about it. Because I think that when it comes to creating content, if you're making a video about a piece of tech that you don't really care about, that's going to come through to your viewers. Like people are going to notice that like you don't care about it, right? So super important to do that. And then on top of that, like I think that in order to get those types of brand deals and those types of sponsorships, one, having your email in your bio, it's very important, so that they know how to actually contact you, because brands, they might DM you, but I think having an email in your bio is huge. And two, just sort of like making content that they would want to represent their brand is also important, right? So I think kind of like having that baseline there is super important. And then, yeah.
I think some people in the chat, and I kind of love to talk about that, is when is it like awesome when you get a brand deal? Like what is exciting about when you get to work with a certain brand? Like when you get to geek out over tech. Is it because like the tech is itself cool, or is it because like they give you freedom on how to make the video or anything like that?
So I think that's huge. I think all companies should give creators the freedom to talk about their product, like, and not give any sort of like constrictions. I think that's really, really important. But I do think that in general, just be really excited about the product itself. Like, for example, when I worked with you guys talking about the H2 mini PC, I was just so excited to do that, one, because I've been a huge NZXT fan pretty much my entire life. So that was like like the initial thing that got me excited. But two, I was just so hyped about the form factor of the H2 mini PC. I could just talk about that thing all day, because I built Jess's first PC inside of the H1. And so it was cool to see the progression of that case specifically.
I actually, Samurai has a beautiful question that I actually would love to hear you answer, because it's always fun to hear how, because you get a lot of people coming to you, correct? Like you'll get people like, NZXT, like, hey, we'd love for you to do this thing. How do you go about getting those deals done when they aren't coming to your email? Yeah,
so I do have to give a massive shout out to Andrew over at the Blended Group. He's my manager. And so if I ever have like any sort of request of like, man, like I really want to work with X brand to cover X product, like he will reach out and try to secure that sponsorship there. Um, so having that sort of backing definitely does help. In the past, I have reached out to companies like just on myself before I was represented by the blended group, just reaching out to a brand and kind of telling them like, hey, like introduce yourself, right? Be personal about it. Be like, hi, my name is so and so. Here's my channel. I cover these types of products on my, on my socials, and I would love to have the opportunity to work with you to cover so and so, and I can provide this type of content in exchange for a product if that sounds good to you, type of thing. Definitely, I think like reaching out to companies, shooting your shot is worth a try, right?
You miss 100% of shots you don't take. Seriously.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's a thing for everyone here. Like most, like probably like 99 point X amount of times, you probably won't get a response back. But that 0.1% time, that 1% time, you do get. Congratulations, you got to work with an awesome brand. So try it out, everyone.
Exactly. And I do think that it is important to look at your content kind of like a portfolio. So if you're looking at your content and each block on your profile is literally a piece that you can use to represent yourself to the brand, so that the brand will be like, okay, yeah, I want to work with this creator. I see that their content is good or it's like super engaging. It all depends on your content specifically. But then I think that, if once it reaches a certain criteria and you have like a following and stuff like that, brands are going to be more open to wanting to work with you.
Oh yeah. As they say, closed mouths don't get fed. Very, very true.
Yeah.
I guess for those that are here that want to work with brands and they want to shoot their shot and, they're not getting to eat, what is a tip that you would give these people on how to approach these brands and how to get those deals done?
Yeah. Oh, so I will say that one of the really good stepping stones to getting a brand to notice you is like, let's say you have a product from that brand already. If you make a video about that product, it might get that brand's attention. The brand might see you and be like, oh, who's this person? They make some really cool content. Like, look at this. And they might show their coworker. And then that's how you can secure that deal working with them that way.
And as someone that I don't work on the partnership side, I'm social media and community, but if you tag us in a lot of stuff and I go, wow, that is an awesome video, we'd love to do that. I'm not going to say who because I don't think I can. We have worked with many people because someone makes a video of like one of our cases or coolers or makes like a cool setup video and we go, hey, that's one of ours. We should work with them. It's probably, like you said, it's a portfolio. Like you're like, hey, look what I could do here and look how good this video looks and your product looks in this video. Like you're pretty much like telling them like, hey, look what I could do. And that is very good. Yeah. So some people in chat, I take a look on socials all the time. You make a good video. Who knows, right? Is there something that brands for us and all these other brands what do they consistently, I don't want to say get wrong, but something that they misinterpret during these type of deals?
I would say maybe it's kind of going back to the piece of being too like rigid on what it might take to fulfill the requirement of the sponsored post. They might want you to say something a certain way. They might come back at you with feedback and be like, oh, the video's great, but can we include this? And it might not feel natural in your video. So like this is going back to that point that I made a little bit ago, trying to find like that stepping away from the content creator voice and making it really feel like yourself. So it's really like taking, if they do have any sort of feedback, taking that feedback and kind of like reworking it in a way that you would say yourself.
How do you make sure to allow yourself to be yourself with brands? Like, there's that thing of like, I get to work with this brand, but like, I also want to be true to myself. How do you toe that line, that balance of it? Like, do you like hard set, like, hey, I need to do this. I won't be like, would you be willing to turn down a brand deal because of that?
Yeah, no. So if a brand like was like super rigid and they're like, hey, like you got to say this. If you don't say this, it's not going to happen. Then I'm sorry, like then we can't follow through with this deal.
I think that's very true for a lot of people that, you know, it's hard to turn down a paycheck, especially when you're beginning and like this is like one of your first ways to really make, but you have to stay true to yourself. And I think for those that are out there, brands will actually respect you a lot more if you say like, hey, I don't want that. And who knows, maybe they go, you know what, you're right. Go ahead and do it how you want to do it. And you still keep the brand deal. Who knows?
Yeah. So like, I don't want to say what brand it was or anything like that. But like in the past, a brand wanted me to say something in a video. And I was like, well, that's not actually like how it works, that type of thing. And like, and then they double checked and it was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So it's like, you got to have a backbone.
I like
that.
Yeah. I do want to get this before we go into the rapid fire questions. I do have a couple things I want to talk about, which is your paintball thing, because you know we talk about content creation and everything like that, but I always love to see the person behind the camera and like look how sick this is. So first of all, how did you get into paintball in general?
Oh man, this makes me so happy. All right, so yeah, I started playing paintball back in 2007. Actually, so that right there, that's one of my best friends that growing up.
Right,
you can kind of see him with the little kid picture. But yeah, so we started playing paintball together, and so yeah, it was like I got into it in 2007. I got the bite, and that was the sport that I played growing up, all throughout high school, all throughout college. And then I haven't really played this season, unfortunately, because my team, we're taking a break right now. But we do get out there. We have gotten out there a couple times this year to play in these what's called 10-man events, which is just like super relaxed. Like you're kind of playing on a big old school hyperball field is what they call it. And 10 guys versus 10 guys. And it's just like OG 1990s paintball. It's so sick. But yeah, no, paintball definitely was something that me growing up, it kept me busy. It brought me like I was traveling because of it. Back in 2010, I went to Phoenix to compete in PSP, Phoenix 2010, which was sick. We got absolutely smoked because we were like 13 years old out there.
Oh my gosh.
But it was so much fun. Yeah, that was a blast. And then went to New Jersey and then to Florida a couple times for World Cup. And then yeah, hopefully going to World Cup again. No, definitely going to World Cup again this year, just to kind of go and hang out.
I like that. So I saw that you guys also won a championship, which is super. How did that feel? Like when you're like getting smoked in these tournaments too? Like how did that feel?
Yeah, no, that was awesome. So this team right here that I'm most recently on, this is Hello Nasty, and they've been an organization that's been around since like 2012. They're like one of the longest, like consistently running. Actually, no, before 2012, way before 2012. I'm not sure the exact year. Jeff, if you're watching this, please don't be mad at me. But yeah, they've been around for years, and so this was the first place that we have ever had in that division. So it was like a huge celebration at the time. But
this is
it's so much fun. If you've never played paintball before, please get out there and play. Like it is an absolute blast.
How much does it actually hurt? I've heard some like, oh, it's not that bad. You get used to it too. Oh yeah, it hurts a lot. What was like, how much does it actually hurt?
So like it depends on one, where you get shot, and two, like how close you are to them. So like, see me being here at the back line, it's really not going to hurt at all. But typically I'm in the front playing Snake. And if you get bunkered, which is where a person comes around the bunker and just blasts you in the back, I'm not going to lie, that hurts. And I've had a welt there. I've had a couple welts there for like a couple of weeks from the last tournament.
Oh,
it does hurt. It does hurt. But you have so much adrenaline going through your body that like it doesn't really affect you until after. You know what I mean?
Oh, is it one of those things where like after you finish up the adrenaline wars down, you're just like sitting in bed, you're like, like, is that
absolutely. Oh my God. And then especially now that like I'm getting older and stuff, it's like the day after a tournament, like, oh my God, I can't believe how much this hurts. I'm really am getting old.
Do you remember the worst hit you ever had?
Uh, the worst hit. It had to have been on my forehead.
Oh,
Actually, I don't know if I have a picture of it, but it literally left a welt like this big on my forehead. I definitely have it somewhere, and it was so bad. It's like, yeah, you're wearing all the headgear, you have the mask on and stuff, but sometimes a shot will get through, and like it was such a big welt on my forehead that when I went to work at the office, people were just like looking at me like, "What is going on with this guy?"
this
Yeah.
is like so cool. I love when like a lot of like content creators have like that, because most of the time we always see like you just, you know, creating content, unboxing stuff. But when you see stuff like this is so cool. Do you have any tips for people that want to get into paintball and what you should get into, what type of gear you should get?
Yeah, so I would say first off, get a group of friends together. Like if you can try to get like 3, 4, 5 of you guys together to go out and enjoy a day of paintball, do that, because having friends with you is what's really going to make it super fun. So that's step 1. And step 2, once you do get the bite to get into paintball, invest in a good mask, because having a good mask really does change the game. Like if you use a rental mask, it's going to start fogging up and stuff like that, potentially, depending on the field. But if you have a good mask, when you have like that perfect vision, it really does make the game just feel so much more immersive and a lot more fun. And then don't go out there and buy like really fancy markers and stuff like that until you know for a fact that you want to get into the sport, because I've seen a lot of people sink a lot of money into it and then never come back again. So because it can get really expensive. So yeah, but I think that if you try it and get out there, I think that you're gonna really have a good time. Like I saw someone, I think was it Beard, that said yeah, FPS IRL. Dude, totally. It's 100% an FPS IRL. And the cool thing about it is it's a relatively new game. You know, like late 80s, I think, was the first game of paintball, but there is already such like a deep culture inside of paintball when it comes to the stuff that you wear on the field, to like paintball talk, to paintball speak. It's really close. If I'm being honest, it's really close to gaming. There's like a direct crossover there. It's pretty cool.
Do you still like in Counter-Strike how you like take certain angles and stuff like that? Do you also do that as well in paintball?
That's exactly what paintball is. Paintball, it's a game of angles, just like Counter-Strike.
Oh, that's so cool. How do you feel? I've seen so many videos of people, you know, like when you reload and then they reload and it completely, all the paint just falls down. How do you feel when you see videos like that?
It happens. It happens to the best of us. It's just like, you know, it's whatever. Yeah.
That's
I'm guilty of it.
Let's see. Okay, let's get through. I have 3 community questions here from the community that I want to get through. Actually, well, this one, these 2 are kind of the same. So from Moon says, not gonna lie, we miss you streaming, but love your content. And for Buzz King, do you ever miss gaming streams?
Absolutely. Like I miss it so much. I was just telling Jess the other day, I was like, man, I really miss streaming. Like just because like there are so many like just fond memories of streaming and just like doing streamathons and subathons and stuff like that. And like it literally is like just such an absolute blast. And I definitely do miss it. And I will hopefully be back streaming consistently. But for right now, it's just really hard to work into my schedule.
From the Samurai Trojan, question: as a smaller streamer, how do you suss out good sponsorships versus the fake?
That's a really good question. So you have to be like you got to make sure that the email is the right email, because I have noticed that a lot of like fake company sponsorships will have like a fake email or something like that. So definitely don't reply to them. But you know, I do think that once you reply back to one that does seem legit, if they reply back to you and they're using like good language inside of the email, and maybe in their bio it also looks legit as well, then I think you can kind of like go from there and like verify that it's actually legit.
I see a couple things about your streams that I want to talk about. What happened? I want to from Akosin. I want to throw another pie in your face. I missed the Taco Bell streams and I missed the spooky streams. What happened during those 3 things?
Yeah. So pie in my face, I think was it a charity goal? It might have been a charity goal. It was like if we reach X amount of dollars donated to a charity, a Kosin could pie me. And so yeah, he threw a pie in my. I think what was it, Jess and a Kosin? Yeah, I forget either charity or PAX giveaway. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. They pied me right in the face. And then Taco Bell streams, that's a throwback. So that's going back to me and Frasky. We would go and stream IRL to Taco Bell and just eat Taco Bell in the car way back in the day.
Oh, I love that. That's cool. You guys just talk about anything in general, or
We were just literally talking about anything. Yeah.
oh,
I don't even know. It was just fun, just vibing with the chat. Honestly, like when it comes to streaming, I really much am like the type of streamer that loves talking to chat. So it's like I like to involve chat in the stream as much as like I like to be talking, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like talking, answering people's questions and that type of stuff.
I've seen a lot of streamers, and I think here people don't think that streaming, you're here to entertain. You're not just here to play video games. You're here to entertain.
Yeah.
You shaved a smiley in your legs and a foot painting. You got to start streaming again. You have to really get into it, because if I saw someone doing this stuff, I'd be super entertained.
Yeah, that was another goal. It was like I'll shave my legs. Yeah, my leg was really itchy with the hair growing back after that.
Oh, especially like it's like awkward too, because it's a smiley. Oh, ooh, I hate that. Alrighty. All right. This is one of my favorite parts, is rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you just random little tidbits. We'll ease into it, and then I'll get into the more like weird and obscure ones. So starting it off, what is your favorite Counter-Strike skin you've ever owned?
It's got to be the Hyper Beast. Like, absolutely love it on the M4A1, M4A1S. But my friend has let me borrow his Vulcan, back new AK-47, and like I get so many compliments on that in game. Yeah.
What is the skin or knife that you want the absolute most?
Probably a Doppler Karambit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Absolutely.
So good. How much money do you think you spent on CS?
Honestly, not much. I'm proud to say that the knife that I got back in 2016. It was $50. It's what is it? It's a Huntsman. Fade. No, not a fade. What do you call it? Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. It's like a purple to blue. Someone in the chat know? Anyways. Yeah, so I got that for $50, and nowadays it's like 300.
Let me see. Is it ultraviolet?
No.
Oh, the knife is iridescent.
Yeah, the actual. Yeah. Case hardened.
Case hardened. Oh, yeah, nice. Case hardened. Nice.
It's actually worth more than I thought too. Okay, cool.
Keep that in mind.
But yeah.
Hey, it's guaranteed, right? It's 50-50. You either get one or you don't. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
That's how it works. What is your favorite? What is your favorite Overwatch main?
Junkrat.
Oh, nice choice. Nice choice. Would you rather get a winner chicken dinner in PUBG or a victory royale in Fortnite?
Oh, victory royale all day. All day.
What is one thing the Ocarina of Time remake has to get right?
Oh boy. The one thing. That's such a hard question. There's so many things that it has to get right. If it like messes with even one thing out of it, like in the game, it's gonna just break people's hearts. But if I could choose one thing, the Epona gameplay. If it doesn't feel good, I'm gonna be really upset.
Do you want it to be like a full, like it's just graphics, or do you want some things to change or anything like that?
No, honestly, like if it could just be graphics, great. It like camera controls as well. Maybe like work on that. But I really don't want them to touch anything from like the original formula, if I'm being honest.
If you could go back in time and replay one game to play with your brothers, what would that be?
Halo 2.
That's a good one.
Halo 2. That was one of the last games that I played with my older brother. Because my older brother, he's like 10 years older than me. So he was in college when Halo 2 came out. Meanwhile, I was still a kid at home playing Halo 2. And we played that on the Xbox that Christmas. And yeah, that was such a cool memory that I have.
What is your single favorite piece of tech that you've ever reviewed?
I think recently it has to be those XR glasses that I just had a crack at. They're really sick.
Oh, the AR ones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. I'm blanking on the name right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to blame it on the sickness. The Vitcher Beasts.
Oh,
I think that it's like really like a step forward into being like, oh my God, like this is the future. Like we really are getting closer and closer to that point of a pair of glasses just being a full-on display that can totally immerse you.
Yeah, here it is. So what about this is like your favorite part?
I think it's just how small of a form factor it is. Like, especially on the plane, like I wore these on the plane to Taiwan and I was able to watch content and also edit my video on the plane.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. Ooh, what is a piece of tech that you recommend everyone here to upgrade or to buy? It doesn't have to be a specific one too. It could just be in general, but if you have a specific one too, go for it.
Yeah, I would say a nice keyboard and a nice mouse. Like that combo, like having a nice keyboard and mouse combo, amazing. Other than that, an OLED monitor. Like once you go OLED, it's such a game changer. It can really take like your PC from being a really awesome experience to just elevating it even more.
Wireless or wired keyboard and mice?
Oh, I'm wireless all day.
Cable management, does that generally matter or is it just for the photos?
I think it matters. I definitely think it matters. It's like if you have a really messy desk and like messy cables going everywhere, it might just be me, but it kind of impacts my mood. And it's like I can't like think about doing anything else until like everything looks nice and neat. Like back there, like there's cables all running through there, but you can't see them. They're all nice and neat.
What is your favorite paintball marker?
Oh man, I'm gonna go back in time. I'm gonna say the DM7. That's a marker from 2007. That's one of my favorites. But if we have a marker nowadays, gotta go with the CS3.
Would you rather do a full day of paintball or a full day of gaming?
If it's nice out, gotta go paintball. But if it's rainy out, let's go gaming.
Let's see. Oh, how disappointed are you when the Patriots lost during the Super Bowl?
You're gonna hate me when I say this. I'm not that big of a Patriots fan, or like in general.
I saw that in thing because you took a photo with the mascot, and someone goes, "You're not even that big of a fan," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
From the Boston area.
I know, it's sacrilegious, but yeah, I'm not like that big of like a traditional sports fan. I'll go to the events and like have fun, but I'm not like a diehard Pats or Red Sox fan. Sorry, guys.
What is the best G Fuel flavor?
I would say Chug Jug. Yeah, the blue raspberry Chug Jug. It's really good.
I think this is my favorite question I'm going to ask you.
All right.
When will you ever wear this banana costume again?
Stop. No. Oh my God. I can't believe you found that.
I told you. I do my research on all my influencers. I check every single one.
Dude. Oh, that is so funny.
When will you
I gotta
wear
bring
this
it back. Again? Maybe that'll be my stream back. I'll wear the costume.
What was the reasoning behind this costume in the first place?
Oh, all right. So this goes back to Vine. So bananas were always the butt of the joke for me because of Vine. One of my biggest Vines that blew up was me going into a Radio Shack with a broken banana. And I asked the Radio Shack worker, I said, can I upgrade to an apple?
That was you?
That was me.
I remember that Vine too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was me. And so, ever since then, it was like bananas. I tried to incorporate it in like funny ways. And so one of my buddies had a banana costume and I just tossed it on.
Oh my gosh, I remember that Vine. I remember
Yeah.
it was like part the little top part was off and he came in. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you I do my research. I found this thing.
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, I gotta ask this. I have to.
That's so funny.
Let's see. What is your favorite memory from the community?
Favorite memory? It's going back, I think, to 2019 PAX. I believe it was 2019 PAX. And it was just like everyone came out with wearing their Driggsy shirt and it had my logo on it. And I've never felt so special before in my life. Like it was just such a cool day to take a picture with everyone wearing the shirt. It was like,
That's
oh my
cool.
God, this is crazy. Thank you guys so much. Yeah.
And one of my favorite fun little philosophical questions to end it on. Are you happy?
I'm happier than I've ever been.
Love that. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do one quick announcement. I'll just do another shout out to the thing and then I'll hand it back over to you for some fun stuff to pop out. First of all, thank you again, Intel, for helping us sponsor this. We're wearing our nice little shirts right now, so super cool. Thank you to the, Intel for helping us sponsor. If you guys want to join the NZXT Intel Club, I see some people collecting some Poochie points right now. You guys go to nzxt.co/club or !club. Join the NZXT Intel Club, and then you do quests to earn Poochie points, and from there you guys can enter into some awesome giveaways. It is US only. I'm so sorry for those that are global. I've been trying to work on it for the past couple months. It's been very tough because of everything going on in the world. But you guys, for those in the US, you guys can win some shirts, some plushies, and the biggest prize of them all, an Intel PC. So start now, because the more entries you start, or the more quests you do, the more points you have, the more entries you have, which means the better chance of getting those points. So start now, and best of luck to everyone. I'll be pulling winners tomorrow. Okay, now back to you, Driggsy. What is next for you? Do you have any exciting projects that you can talk about? Any events you're going to?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for PAX West 2026. I'm going with Akosin. We haven't been to PAX West since 2020 or 2019. Yeah, 2019. So I'm really looking forward to getting back over to Seattle, and being back in that city and going back to that PAX, because it's PAX East is awesome, but PAX West is like a whole nother level. And then besides that, of course, we have CES.
As someone that used to live right by the PAX West in downtown, do you have anything you're looking forward to going back to Seattle?
No, I think it was like there was a really great restaurant that we went to, because, and I'm blanking on where it was, but we got to hit that place back up again. Yeah, he's excited for Vegas as well.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I want to go back to the pier. I feel like we didn't really like explore it too much when we were there last time. So yeah, just looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's I cannot remember the bar, but there is literally a bar right by the pier. They've redid everything. It is single-handedly the best thing. I think you guys are going to go, I think PAX West is in a couple weeks, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, it's in September.
Yeah. If the weather's great, it is probably the single-handedly the best. I'll try to find it, but it is the best bar because it overlooks the water, and during the summer, it's probably one of the best places just to get a drink and just overlook the bar. It is, let me see if I could find it. It's right by this. Let me see if I'll try to find it soon for you, but it is the best because it's so, I used to live like 2 streets over from downtown. So awesome.
Oh, so you know where all the good spots are.
Oh yeah. If you need anything, DM me. I got you. Where can our listeners, for those that are listening to audio, where can our listeners find you online?
Yeah, so you can find me on TikTok at Driggsy Tech, YouTube, Driggsy, Instagram, Driggsy Tech. Or if you just want all of my socials, you can just go to who.be/Driggsy. That has all my socials there.
Oh, it is Old Stove Brewing. That is, it has the view of the Ferris wheel. It has a great view of the sunset. So good. So good. Do you have any thoughts for the audience and any shout outs?
No, I want to give massive shout outs to everyone that's here from my community. I've seen you guys in the chat. So thank you so much for pulling through. I appreciate you guys so much. And for anyone else that maybe isn't a part of my community yet, thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining in this podcast. This was a ton of fun. And just a huge thank you to NZXT and Intel for having me on here. And Mike, thank you for hosting.
Of course. And for those that are here, we're giving away a hoodie, a shirt, and a mouse pad out to one of you, or actually three of you, three random viewers. We have a secret code that gives 1,000 extra entries into the giveaway. That's my way of holding everyone hostage to make sure they're watching the stream. What would you like the secret code word to be?
Me?
Yes. There's a lot. You
Banana.
can do anything. Banana. Beautiful.
Banana.
Easy peasy. I am updating that code. I called it. Yeah, Jess and Sage both called it. Beautiful. The code word is banana. Everyone, please refresh your Gleams because I just updated code. That is for 1,000 extra entries into the giveaway. That's why we're saying thank you to the viewers for watching, and thank you, Driggsy, for joining us today. Thank you guys for joining us, and remember, tune in live on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the official NZXT Twitch, and don't forget to listen to previous episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. If you have any questions for us, send an email to podcast@nzxt.com or tag @NZXT on social media platforms. Thank you so much, Driggsy, for joining us today. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone here has a very safe and very awesome start of August. Have a good day, everyone.